You know, that really harkens back to not only Loose Change, that has a great Building 7 chapter, but you look at Fabled Enemies, and we go through the agencies that were in there. We show you the news reports where they admitted they cordoned off the entire area and let the Secret Service and the CIA surveil everything to make sure that everything went down the way they did it. You know, we have the Barry Jennings interview for the first time in there that confirms the explosions. We've got the news reports from Michael Hess that now that they've released this NIST footage, look who it is. It's Michael Hess on the 8th floor saying, I'm the city corporation council. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, so I feel so vindicated. And you know that there's going to be video in there of the back of Building 7 that's going to further prove that it wasn't scooped out like the liars at NIST said, and it didn't come down due to thermal expansion. And Geraldo Rivera is dipping his beak a little bit in there, and I encourage people to send him the chapter from Fabled Enemies of World Trade Center 7. If we can make that go viral and get that to Geraldo, I think that'll open up the whole subject. And we need to open up this subject again because we have a real opportunity at this point and this juncture up until the 10th anniversary of 9/11. If we don't scream loud enough and do enough to make a change, to get some of the guilty parties on trial in a courtroom where they can be prosecuted for their crimes, because they need to be, this has to come out in our generation, or we're just going to go further down this field of corruption. How will we ever be able to look at our children in the eyes when they turn into teenagers, and I'm talking your 5, 6, 7, 10-year-old now, and we're still in the fields of Afghanistan, and we're still in Iraq for something we helped pull off in what was an international intelligence operation for the globalists to consolidate power.
Absolutely, you know, and I want to go into talking more about this 9/11 thing because, like you said, about college students, there was too young to. I remember when I remembered 9/11, I was in 5th grade. I barely even knew what was going on. Okay,
What? 5th grade?
Yeah, I was in 5th grade when I first heard 9/11 happen. It was in the morning. I was getting on the bus. I heard, okay, you know, a plane hit the towers. I didn't think much of it. We stayed in school the entire day once it came out that it was a terrorist attack. And I got home, but I was so young, I didn't understand the true magnitude of it. And it's crazy to think that nearly 10 years from now, I'm 20 years old, I'm in college, and this stuff about 9/11 still has not been fully explained. We're still in Afghanistan, and then we just ended up going into Iraq. The stuff has not ended. People need to remember that even though it was 10 years ago, 9/11 is huge. It still weighs heavily on your life today.
Including all up in the news now, naked body scanners.
Yeah, and what I find troubling is that, yes, Geraldo Rivera is coming out about it, and we're seeing a lot more attention being played to this, and they're not just shouting us down now and calling us lunatics. But what are they really trying to do with this? I don't really feel that the mainstream is going to let the full truth come out about it without some kind of spin and trying to find some people to blame it on. I guarantee what's going to come out is they're going to let the lie hop happen, which is let it happen on purpose, not the made it happen on purpose, because those implications are much, much deeper. Because if it's let it happen on purpose, they can just blame it on Bush and a few neocons. But when it comes out that it was made to happen on purpose, that shows a huge scheme at work. What do you think about that, Jason?
Absolutely, but the problem that they're going to have is that those buildings were demolished. And that's going to be the really big issue that lie hop just won't fit. Well, when you look at it, I mean, let's look at it. It's an international intelligence operation because the powers that be use compartmentalization. They use their insiders at the continuity of government program, which is the shadow government. They use their war gamers at NORAD that have no idea what's going on, okay? They use the Pakistani ISI connection, which is just a puppet of the CIA, to fund the hijackers. They use the Saudi Arabian embassy, that again is another CIA front, to smuggle in Islamic militants into this country under who their asset bin Laden. That's not Jason Bermas. That's Michael Springman, who was head of the visa department and was forced to resign because his superiors basically told him he needed to do this. And when he later talked to his CIA contacts, they told him exactly why, and it was what I just said. And then these people are then trained at U.S. bases all the while the Israelis are compromising good people in intelligence through their art student program. I mean, if you look at that Fox report, they got into the Department of Defense, they got into the CIA, they got into secret government buildings. They had everybody compromised because Comrex and Amdocs go through 99% of the population's telecommunications.
Yeah, I want to get into that because, you know, your film Fabled Enemies, I think the most important thing with that film is it really looks into the patsies that were used to carry out 9/11, the false flag event. And I think it's obvious that Mossad was somehow involved with the false flag event. Somehow Mossad was involved. I don't think that's deniable. That's not to say that they carried it out like lots of, some people try to spin it. It was, you're just an anti-Semite saying Israel did it. It's not that.
It's not that at all, and that's the problem. They want to jump the gun and they want to have a scapegoat, but it doesn't work without all these players. And you can't ignore all this evidence because it's real. So you look at the Israeli role, and like I said, they use their assets on the East and West Coast to compromise other agents. That's exactly, see, they don't want to talk about that game because that's the real espionage game. These guys get in there and then they compromise real intelligence officers that don't realize that they're targets. And then on top of that, while the war games are going on, they use small squads of Israelis to pull off smaller level attacks in the United States and film the events.
We're going to break right now. Jason, you want to throw out your address so if people want to help get you back on air?
Yeah, if you want to donate to my PayPal and get me back on air, it's jasonisvoid, VOID, at yahoo.com or jasoniswinning@yahoo.com.
Okay, and if you guys have any questions you want to ask Jason Bermas, the call-in number is 512-646-1984. That is 512-646-1984. So call in with your questions for Jason Bermas. We're going to go all through the three monumental films that he made. We're going to pull up many questions about what he's doing today, his past activism. So any questions you guys have, please bring them up after this quick break. Thank you for listening to the Truth Exposed radio show. This is the Truth Exposed radio show, and we are here. We are ready to expose some truth with our special guest, Jason Bermas. We want to go right ahead to some of our callers who are waiting in the wings. We are going to bring up Henry from Texas. Henry, you are live on Truth Exposed radio.
Hi, guys. Congratulations on another good show. Very honored to talk to Jason right now. I'm glad to hear he's safe and okay. I just want to talk about why, if you're really going to do a show that's weekly or daily, that's going to be pretty awesome, man. We really miss you in the movement. And hand me out your DVDs, man. You're very easy to explain. You're a young, creative guy like us, so, continue making movies, man. We miss you in this movement. And we really need something, to keep our young generation wanting to know more and wanting to do something. So, I want if you can explain a little bit more about what we can do, especially because we're all out of high school, what we can do to affect those people.
Well, I think that everybody can affect change in a different way. Really, first of all, you got to look at your situation. What kind of a location are you in? Who are you going to be able to relate to? What really needs to be changed there? One of the big things that you can do that people do notice is money. What do I mean by that? Right now, silver is taking off. If you can get on the silver train before it's $30 or more an ounce, which I see it going to. Listen, guys, now I'm getting gas. A week and a half ago, it was $3.03 a gallon. A week before that, it was $2.93. Today, it's $3.13. So when gas starts to go up and you see this explosion in gold and silver, and it's really not that expensive, if you got even a part-time job or you just got a little bit of money on the side, start buying some silver coins at the $25 mark. Be smart. They are going to go up. People, and advise other people to do so. People pay attention when you can make them money or save them what is essentially the wealth they've already earned. And our wealth is being taken at a rapid rate right now. Also, it all depends on who you're dealing with. If you've got this guy that's totally pro-war, or maybe he's ex-military and he's gotten out of the service, you may want to work around 9/11 was an inside job by feeling him out with a few things and, maybe just hitting them up with something, talking to them, being like, yeah, man, but it totally sucks that some of the hijackers were trained in the U.S. And then they go, yeah. And, you got to work things in. It's just like when I'm talking to somebody who I can tell right off the bat is extremely religious. And my iPhone, God bless its little evil Apple soul, it brings up just about anything I need on demand. I mean, if I looked up a YouTube video a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, I can just go to my recently played list, I go and I grab it and I say, well, what about this? And they look at it and they look at it again. And they're like, no, that can't be true. And I'm like, really? Well, what about this? I've shown people everything from the Bohemian Grove cremation of care to World Trade Center 7 building falling down. I think the first thing you need to do is become active and kind of pull yourself out of this mentality that I can't affect change. You can affect change. Every day, even if you go out of your house and you talk to 2 people, you can affect change with those 2 people. Oh, 2 people's not enough. Well, if you did it and your neighbors did it and your neighbors' neighbors did it, it would be enough in a day. And exponentially, we need to grow. We're never going to agree on everything 100%. I always tell people, don't spend your time, attacking others within the movement. That's just a waste of time as well. You have to go out there and just be confident about things, look people directly in the eye, and have the evidence on hand. I always tell people, don't get in over your head. Don't get to a place where you're not going to be able to present factual information and you're going to go emotionally over the top. Because all you do is discredit yourself.
Yeah, because that factual information is what changes minds, not getting all worked up about it. It's just hammering out the facts, showing them quick little video clips of things, and to give them a new perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm a human being. I've gone over the top for sure. But, I try to be as cool, calm, and collected as I possibly can. And, in today's day and age, that little iPhone shoots HD. So there's no excuses. Anybody out there walking around with an iPhone 3G or a 4.0, you can now just forget about having a camera crew. You can now ask an important question of an official or a politician and put that video on the net and send it to Viral City. And it's becoming more and more a part of the culture, as we knew it would be 5 and 6 years ago when we first started talking about this. And who knows? I'm not saying every YouTube video out there in the world is going to change the world. Excuse me. But certainly a lot of these videos are changing things. I mean, you look what's happening with the TSA. That's something, those scanners are something I was talking about 2 years ago on the Info Warrior. The same exact thing, what the news is talking about now, InfoWars, Alex Jones, myself, and a lot of others were ahead of the game. And
big time, because earlier in the year, y'all were talking about the TSA body scanners, and Alex even threw up that contest to try to ignite some activism. And it was kind of slow back then, but you look now, later in the year, now it's snowballed.
Exactly, and a lot of people think that change is going to come overnight. Well, no, it comes over a progressive period of time. And even the globalists know this. That's why you see a lot of incrementalism out there. And it's something that we try to explore and explain in Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. So, it's up to you to decide how you want to change things. Is it going out on Facebook every day and posting a dozen stories to all your friends? Is it making a video? Is it having a radio show? Is it just going door to door and handing out DVDs? Is it running for city council? Is it, starting your own little victory garden or your own, little community garden where everybody can, eat and sustain? I mean, you guys live out in Texas. You can grow stuff pretty much all year round. It's starting to get cold out here. That just isn't possible. So it really depends on what's in your heart and what you think the biggest problems in your area is. But the worst thing to do is just kind of sit around and fumble your thumbs and act like, well, I really can't affect change, so I won't try. So, it's up to you to decide how you want to change things. Is it going out on Facebook every day and posting a dozen stories to all your friends? Is it making a video? Is it having a radio show? Is it just going door to door and handing out DVDs? Is it running for city council? Is it, starting your own little victory garden or your own, little community garden where everybody can, eat and sustain? I mean, you guys live out in Texas. You can grow stuff pretty much all year round. It's starting to get cold out here. That just isn't possible.